They were one argument away from calling it quits. The love they once felt, the laughter that used to fill their home, it was all buried under years of quiet resentment and explosive fights. They'd tried everything they could think of, date nights that felt forced, self-help books collecting dust on the nightstand, even counseling sessions that just ended in silent, angry car rides home. Nothing was working. It felt like the end. An inevitable, heartbreaking conclusion to a love story that started with so much promise. But what they discovered next wasn't just a new technique for arguing better. It was a secret, a profound shift rooted in faith, that wouldn't just save their relationship but would equip them to face any storm life threw at them, together. This is the story of how they found it, and how you can, too. Have you ever felt that way? Like you and your partner are standing on opposite sides of a canyon, shouting, but your words just get lost in the wind? That hopeless feeling of being utterly stuck in a cycle of conflict you just can't seem to break. You love this person, you really do, but the connection is frayed, the trust is paper thin, and joy feels like a distant memory. People often say the biggest marriage problems are about intimacy, stress, schedules, health, or money. But underneath all of that, there's usually a much deeper disconnect. You are not alone in this. So many couples find themselves in that exact spot, starting to believe the lie that their relationship is broken beyond repair. They try to fix it with the tools the world offers them, better communication tactics, more quality time, new ways to negotiate. And while those things aren't bad, they're like trying to patch a cracked foundation with wallpaper. They might cover the symptom for a little while, but they don't fix the root cause. The problem, more often than not, is that we're trying to solve a deeply spiritual problem with purely secular solutions. Today, we're going to uncover the relationship secret that changes everything. This isn't a simple tip or a life hack. It's a fundamental rewiring of your entire relationship. It's the key that a couple, let's call them James and Sarah, discovered when they were at their absolute lowest. It's a secret that is available to every single one of us, and it has the power to not just heal what's broken, but to build a bond that is stronger, more resilient, and more full of life than you ever thought possible. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn could be the turning point you've been praying for. Before we get to the solution, we have to be painfully honest about the problem. Let's go back to James and Sarah. On the outside, they looked perfect. Active in their community, good jobs, 2 kids they adored. But behind closed doors, their home was a battlefield of silent treatments and carefully chosen words meant to wound. Their fights were never really about the thing they were fighting about. An argument over taking out the trash would spiral into a referendum on their whole marriage. "You never help" really meant, "You don't care about me." A disagreement about money became, "You don't trust my judgment." Every little conflict was a proxy war for the much bigger, unspoken battles raging underneath. Do you see me? Do you value me? Am I alone in this? James felt constantly criticized. In his mind, nothing he ever did was good enough for Sarah. He'd come home from a long day at work, and the first thing he'd hear wasn't, "Hello," but a comment about shoes he left by the door or a task he forgot. So, he started to withdraw. He retreated into his work, his phone, into a quiet shell where he felt safe from what felt like a constant barrage of disapproval. He built a fortress around his heart, not out of malice, but pure self-preservation. Sarah, on the other hand, felt completely invisible and alone. Juggling the kids, the house, and her own job, she felt like she was carrying the entire emotional and logistical weight of their family. When she brought up an issue, like the forgotten trash, it wasn't just about the chore. It was a desperate plea, see me. Help me. Be my partner in this. So when James shut down and retreated, it was the ultimate confirmation of her deepest fear: she really was in this by herself. Her requests for help got sharper, tinged with a desperation that, to James, just sounded like anger. Does any of this sound familiar? That feeling that you and your partner are speaking two different languages? That you're trapped in a toxic dance where one person pokes and the other pulls away, over and over, until you're both just exhausted and more distant than ever. This is the you versus me mentality. It's the default state for a relationship in distress. Every conflict becomes a zero-sum game. For me to win, you have to lose. For my needs to be met, yours have to take a back seat. This dynamic is a spiritual black hole. It sucks the light and life out of a relationship because it's the exact opposite of what love is. James and Sarah were good people who loved each other. But they were operating from a place of fear, scarcity, and self-protection. They were using the world's strategies to protect their own hearts, and in the process, they were accidentally destroying their marriage. They were trying to build a partnership on a foundation of two separate individuals. And that kind of foundation will always crack under the pressure of real life. They were missing the crucial third element, the secret ingredient that turns a fragile contract into an unbreakable, three-stranded covenant. They were trying to get through the storm in two separate boats, totally unaware that the only way to survive was to get in the same boat and find a common anchor. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night. It was a stupid fight over weekend plans, but it escalated fast. Voices were raised. Old wounds were ripped wide open. And then Sarah said the words that had been hanging in the air for months: "I can't do this anymore." And for the first time, James didn't retreat. He just looked at her, his face a mask of exhaustion and defeat, and said, "I know." The fight was gone. The silence that filled the room was heavier and more final than any shout had ever been. It was the silence of surrender. They had hit rock bottom. And it was right there, in the darkness, that the first glimmer of light was about to break through. Rock bottom has a terrifying kind of clarity. When you've lost all hope in your own strength, when every strategy has failed, you're finally in a position to look for a different kind of help. For James and Sarah, sitting in that suffocating silence, the end felt real. All the human effort was gone. And in that moment of total surrender, Sarah did the only thing she had left to do. She started to pray. Not a formal, eloquent prayer, but a broken, whispered cry for help. "God, please. Help us. I don't know what to do." James, hearing her whisper, didn't scoff. He didn't walk away. He just sat there, listening to the sound of his wife's heart breaking. And something in him broke, too. The pride, the defensiveness, the years of building walls, it all seemed so pointless in the face of their shared agony. He reached out and took her hand. For the first time in a very long time, they weren't enemies. They were just two broken people, holding on to each other in the dark. This was the shift. This was the beginning of them discovering the secret. The secret that defeats every challenge in a relationship is this: you have to transform your relationship from a two-person contract into a three-stranded cord. In Ecclesiastes 4 verse 12, the Bible says, Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. We often apply this verse to community, but its most powerful application is inside a marriage. For years, James and Sarah had been operating as 2 single strands, sometimes pulling together, but just as often pulling against each other. When life put pressure on them, their bond frayed. The secret is to intentionally and actively invite God to be the third strand in your relationship. This isn't just about you both believing in God individually. It's about consciously making Him the center, the anchor, and the active guide for your life together. It means you stop seeing your relationship as you and me and start seeing it as you, me, and God. This is a paradigm shift that changes everything. When God is the third strand, conflict isn't you versus me anymore. It's you and me, united, turning together to consult our third strand. Your shared goal is no longer to win the argument or protect your own feelings. Your shared goal becomes aligning with God's heart for your relationship. Research actually shows that when couples view their marriage as sacred and see God as involved in it, they report greater stability and happiness. This sanctification of marriage is a powerful force for good. This shift gives you what researchers call a God's meta-perspective. It lets you pull back from the immediate anger and see the conflict from a higher viewpoint. Suddenly, the issue isn't just your spouse's annoying habit, it's a chance to practice patience. The fight isn't about who's right, it's a chance to offer grace. The challenge isn't a sign that your relationship is failing, it's a test designed to make you stronger, together. For James and Sarah, this didn't fix everything overnight. But it was the beginning of everything. It gave them a new direction. Instead of facing each other in conflict, they began to turn, side by side, and face God in humility. They started asking different questions. Instead of, "How can I get you to see my point?" they started asking, "God, what are you trying to teach us here?" Instead of, "Why are you doing this to me?" they asked, "How can we, as a team, honor God in how we handle this?" This is the secret, the framework that holds everything else together. But how do you actually live this out? It's built on 3 foundational pillars. These are the pillars that James and Sarah began to build, brick by painful, hopeful brick, to reconstruct their entire relationship. The first and most foundational pillar they had to rebuild was gratitude and admiration. Think about it. The engine of conflict in a struggling relationship is almost always criticism and contempt. You focus on what your partner is doing wrong. You see their flaws, their failures, their shortcomings. You keep a running tally of their mistakes. Like James and Sarah, you see the shoes by the door, but not the fact that he worked a 10-hour day to provide for you. You hear the sharp tone in her voice, but miss the exhaustion behind it. Contempt, which is seeing your partner as beneath you, is what renowned relationship researcher Dr. John Gottman calls one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for a relationship, a primary predictor of divorce. The biblical antidote to a spirit of criticism is a spirit of thanksgiving. It's a conscious, disciplined choice to focus on the good. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 18 tells us to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. That's not a suggestion for when things are going well, it's a command for all circumstances, even the middle of a relational winter. For James and Sarah, this felt completely backward. How could Sarah be grateful for a husband who was emotionally distant? How could James be grateful for a wife who seemed constantly critical? It seemed impossible. But they learned that gratitude isn't a feeling you wait for, it's a muscle you work. Faith-based gratitude isn't just positive thinking. It's recognizing that your partner, with all their imperfections, is a gift. Religious faith is a powerful predictor of gratitude, which in turn helps couples resolve conflict more cooperatively. So, they started small. Their counselor challenged them to each start a gratitude journal for the other. Every night, they each had to write down one thing they were grateful for about their spouse. At first, it was hard. Sarah would write things like, "I'm grateful James took out the trash." James would write, "I'm grateful Sarah made dinner." Simple, action-based things. But then, something started to shift. The act of intentionally looking for the good began to retrain their brains. Instead of scanning their day for evidence of their partner's failures, they started scanning for evidence of God's grace in them. After a week, Sarah wrote, "I'm grateful for the way James plays with the kids after work, even when he's tired. He's a good father." That same night, James wrote, "I'm grateful for how hard Sarah works to make our house a home. She thinks of everything." This practice of gratitude is directly linked to what Dr. Gottman calls nurturing fondness and admiration. He discovered that successful couples have a deep respect and affection for each other. They actually like each other. This system of admiration acts as a buffer during conflict. When you have an emotional bank account full of positive feelings, one negative interaction doesn't bankrupt the relationship. In fact, Gottman's research famously found that the magic ratio is 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. For couples in crisis, that ratio is often 1-to-1, or worse. Practicing gratitude is how you start making deposits into that account. It's a spiritual discipline with profound psychological effects. It changes the story in your head from, "My husband is lazy," to, "My husband is a hard worker who gets overwhelmed, but he's a good man." It changes the story from, "My wife is a nag," to, "My wife feels the weight of the world on her shoulders and she's just trying to hold it all together." As they continued, they started expressing it. Instead of leading with a complaint, Sarah would try to lead with gratitude. "Thank you for working so hard for us today," she might say before bringing up an issue. James started noticing and appreciating the things Sarah did. "The house looks amazing. Thank you." These weren't grand gestures. They were small, consistent deposits. This is the first pillar: actively choose gratitude over criticism. Look at your partner through a lens of grace, not judgment. Decide to water the flowers instead of the weeds. This one practice starts to soften the heart, making it possible for the next pillar to be built. If a lack of gratitude fuels the fire of conflict, a lack of forgiveness builds the walls between you. Every unresolved argument, every past hurt, every bitter word spoken in anger becomes another brick in that wall. Over time, it gets so high and so thick you can't even see the person on the other side. You're living in the same house, but emotionally, you're in exile. This was James and Sarah. They both had a long list of grievances. Sarah couldn't forget the time James belittled her idea in front of friends. James couldn't let go of the harsh words Sarah had said about his family years ago. These hurts were the evidence they used to justify their distance and defensiveness. They were prisoners of their own resentment. The world's advice on forgiveness is often pretty weak. Just let it go. Forgive and forget. But how do you just let go of something that truly wounded you? How do you forget a betrayal that cut you to the core? This is where faith provides a radically different and infinitely more powerful model. Biblical forgiveness is not an emotion, it's a decision. It's an act of your will, motivated by a higher truth. The model is in Ephesians 4 verse 32, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." The motivation isn't that your partner deserves it. They might not. The motivation isn't that the offense was small. It might have been huge. The motivation is that you have been forgiven an astronomical debt, so any debt owed to you pales in comparison. Jesus taught this in the parable of the unforgiving servant. A man forgiven of an unpayable debt turns around and refuses to forgive a tiny one. The story is a stark reminder: our ability to forgive others flows directly from understanding how much we've been forgiven. When your relationship is anchored by that third strand, forgiveness is no longer just a deal between you and your partner. It's an act of worship. It's you saying, "God, I am choosing to release this person from the debt they owe me, because you released me from the immeasurable debt I owed you." This kind of faith-motivated forgiveness is proven to reduce bitterness and increase well-being. Research confirms this. Studies have found that praying for your partner's well-being makes you more willing to forgive them, more cooperative, and less vengeful, even after they hurt you. Why? Because prayer shifts your perspective. It forces you to see your partner not as your enemy, but as a person loved by God. It connects you to God's meta-perspective, cooling your anger and helping you see the bigger picture. For James and Sarah, this was the hardest pillar. It required revisiting some deep wounds. Their counselor had them do an exercise where they each wrote down the hurts they were holding on to. Then, one by one, they had to read a hurt aloud and end with the phrase, "And I choose to forgive you." When Sarah first said, "When you belittled my business idea, it made me feel small and foolish, and I choose to forgive you," the words felt like ash in her mouth. She didn't feel it. But she said them as an act of obedience. James did the same with his list. It was awkward, painful, and holy all at once. It's so important to understand that forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. And it's not the same as excusing the behavior. Forgiveness is the internal act of canceling the debt. It says, "I will no longer hold this against you or use it as a weapon." Reconciliation is the process of rebuilding trust, and that takes time. But you can't get to healthy reconciliation without first choosing forgiveness. By choosing forgiveness, James and Sarah started dismantling the wall between them, brick by brick. With each act of forgiveness, a little more light came through. It allowed them to start fresh, to see each other again, not as the caricature of their past mistakes, but as the person they fell in love with. This is the power that can heal what seems broken beyond repair. If this idea of gratitude or faith-motivated forgiveness is resonating with you, and you're starting to see how these pillars could change your own relationship, I want to invite you to subscribe and join our community. We explore these life-changing topics every week, and we'd be honored to walk this journey with you. Once gratitude has softened the ground and forgiveness has dismantled the walls, you can build the third, glorious pillar, a shared purpose. One of the most common reasons couples drift apart is that they start living parallel lives. They're on two different tracks, chasing two different sets of goals. They live in the same house and raise the same kids, but they're not really moving in the same direction. They lack a unified mission. The question from the prophet Amos is hauntingly relevant for modern couples: can two walk together, unless they are agreed? Amos 3 verse 3. For James and Sarah, their team had dissolved. James's purpose was to provide for his family and find some peace at the end of the day. Sarah's purpose was to raise her kids well and feel seen and supported. Both good goals, but they were individual goals. They didn't have a shared why. This meant any decision, about money, time, careers, was a potential conflict, because it was all filtered through two different sets of priorities. The third pillar of an unbreakable relationship is creating a shared spiritual purpose that's bigger than either of you. It's seeing your marriage not just as a vehicle for personal happiness, but as a partnership on a mission for God. It's creating a we that is stronger than me. When a couple creates shared rituals and goals, their satisfaction and stability skyrocket. For couples of faith, this means building a shared spiritual life together. So how do you do this? It starts with exploring each other's inner worlds, what Dr. Gottman calls creating love maps. You have to intentionally learn about your partner's dreams, fears, and values. This isn't a one-time chat, it's an ongoing process of discovery. Faith encourages this kind of deep knowing, fostering empathy and a genuine desire to understand your partner. James and Sarah started asking questions they hadn't asked in years. What do you dream about for our family's future? What makes you feel closest to God? What are you most afraid of right now? What do you want our legacy to be? These conversations, held with curiosity instead of judgment, began to weave their two separate stories back into a single narrative. From that place of understanding, they created a shared purpose. They actually sat down and wrote a family mission statement. It wasn't some corporate document, it was a set of shared values and goals to guide their decisions. It included things like, our family will be a place of grace and forgiveness. Our home will be a place of hospitality. We will use our resources to honor God and bless others. This mission statement became their new compass. When a decision about a job offer came up, they didn't just ask, will it mean more money? They asked, how will this affect our family's mission? When they argued about their schedules, they could come back to their shared value of being present for their kids. It gave them a common language and a common goal. It transformed them from two individuals negotiating a contract into two partners running the same race. This pillar is also built through shared spiritual practices. Praying with each other, not just for each other, can be revolutionary. Partner-focused prayer is scientifically linked to a higher sense of unity and commitment. It's hard to stay angry at someone when you are humbly bringing them before God and asking for His blessing on them. Just 5 minutes of praying together at the end of the day reinforces the reality of that three-stranded cord. It reminds you both that you're on the same team, accountable to the same loving God. This shared purpose builds a profound level of trust. When you know your partner is committed to a shared mission that puts God first, you can trust that their decisions aren't purely self-interested. You're building spiritual capital together, a reserve of shared faith you can draw on when times get tough. So, we have these three pillars: divine gratitude, which overcomes criticism, motivated forgiveness, which overcomes resentment, and shared purpose, which overcomes division. When these three pillars are firmly in place, resting on the foundation of the three-stranded cord, something incredible happens. Your entire relationship dynamic shifts from you versus me to us versus the problem. This is the ultimate secret. This is the framework that defeats every challenge. Think about it this way. In a you versus me framework, conflict is like a tennis match. Your partner serves an accusation, and you have to smash it back over the net. You score points by proving them wrong and winning the argument. The goal is to beat your opponent. But in marriage, when you win at your partner's expense, the relationship always loses. But when you adopt the US versus the problem framework, conflict is no longer a tennis match. Now, your teammates on the same side of the court, standing shoulder to shoulder, facing the challenge together. The problem might be a financial stressor, a parenting disagreement, or an external pressure. The key is, the problem is, it, not each other. The three pillars are what make this shift possible. Gratitude makes sure you see the person next to you as your trusted teammate, not the enemy. Forgiveness makes sure that when you accidentally hurt each other while fighting the problem, you can repair it quickly and get back in the game, instead of turning on one another. And a shared purpose is your team's playbook. It's the game plan you both agreed on, keeping you focused on the same goal. For James and Sarah, this became beautifully practical. A few months into this journey, a major, unexpected expense came up. The old James and Sarah would have had a massive fight about blame, "You spent too much," and fear, "We're never going to get ahead." It would have been a "you versus me" disaster. But the new James and Sarah handled it differently. When the news hit, sure, there was stress. But Sarah looked at James and said, "Okay. This is a problem. But it's our problem. We're a team." They prayed together for wisdom, and then they looked at their budget. Because of their shared mission statement, they already had agreed upon financial priorities. The conversation wasn't about blame, it was about strategy. It was us versus the debt. It was still hard, but they were in it together. The challenge, instead of driving them apart, actually pulled them closer. Faith had turned a conflict into an opportunity for growth and unity. This is the secret that defeats every challenge. Not the absence of challenges, but a new way of facing them. It's the profound, unshakable knowledge that no matter what life throws at you, sickness, financial trouble, grief, you aren't facing it alone. You have a teammate beside you, and an unbreakable anchor holding you both steady. Let's pray. We started with a couple on the very brink of giving up. What James and Sarah discovered wasn't a magic wand. It was a choice, followed by a series of daily choices. They chose to stop trying to fix their marriage on their own and instead invited God to be the strong third strand in their cord. They chose the discipline of gratitude, intentionally looking for the good in each other. They chose the hard path of forgiveness, releasing each other from the debts of the past, motivated by the grace they had both received. And they chose to walk together with a shared purpose, creating a unified mission bigger than their individual desires. These choices transformed everything. They didn't just save their marriage, they built a new one on a foundation that could withstand anything. And the beautiful truth is, this isn't just their story. It can be your story, too. Recent studies confirm that couples who actively practice their faith together, what one study calls convictional Christians, report the healthiest, most flourishing marriages. This isn't an accident. It's the result of applying these timeless, powerful principles. If you are feeling hopeless today, please hear this: it is not too late. The situation is not impossible. The God who designed marriage is also the one who can redeem it. The journey might feel hard, but it begins with a single, simple step. A prayer of surrender. A whispered, "God, please. Help us." That is where the healing begins. The secret isn't really a secret at all. It's an open invitation to build your relationship on the only foundation that can never be shaken. Father, I lift up every single person watching right now. I lift up every marriage, especially those in a place of pain and hopelessness. Lord, I pray that you would meet them right where they are, in the silence and the hurt. Remind them of the love that brought them together, but more importantly, remind them of your unending, redeeming love for them. I pray they would have the courage to invite you to be the third strand in their cord. Give them a spirit of gratitude, the strength to forgive, and a vision for a shared purpose that will unite them as a team. Heal what is broken, and build something new and beautiful that brings glory to your name. Amen.